Hi everybody, thanks very much for joining me again. Today we are unboxing a Revell Volkswagen Beetle. This time it is the Volkswagen Beetle Limousine 1968. I love that, Volkswagen Beetle Limousine. If you ask me to picture a limousine, this is really pretty much the opposite of what I would have in mind. But I think that's potentially that's a word used in Europe sometimes to describe or in German perhaps, to describe a saloon, which the Volkswagen Beetle is, I guess. So here we are. On the front we have this nice illustration showing the real 1968 Beetle in some sort of town setting. Similar story on the box end there. Here we have a list of required paints, a little bit of information on what's included in the kit, and then one of my favourite things, as you probably know by now, photographs showing parts of the built-up model, which I think is such a great thing to provide for people so they can see whether or not this is what they want to buy. Same on the end there. There we go, information, Volkswagen Beetle there, and licensing information and stuff, and an also available panel on the back. Okay, great, so let's open this Revell end flap box and see what we get. And it feels pretty full. Very full, in fact. Anything else in there? Nope, that is empty. Okay, good. Instructions, we will look at those in a moment. Okay, plenty of parts here. This is looking good already. So what do we get? First of all, a very nice looking Beetle body. Look at that. So this is, I'm not an expert on Volkswagen Beetles actually, but as far as I know, this is the original early type Beetle with this sort of short, snubby nose, which was then, I don't know if it was replaced, but it was at least joined by a slightly larger version with a longer nose, I think, and bigger engine options, and some other changes as well in the 1970s, I think, shortly after this was made, which became known as a Super Beetle, I believe. But this is not that car. This is the original Herbie style Beetle, I suppose you could say. Looking pretty good there. So moulded in vent detail over where the wherever that rear engine cover is. These holes suggest that we're going to have separate door handles, which is a great sign there. Space for lighting assemblies to go. Not really seeing any flash or sink marks or anything there. Yeah, looking good. Okay, what's next? We have the glazing. I will leave the glazing in here. I like to keep it under wraps. It'll be nice and safe. But it's windshield, rear screen, front and rear side windows, so the entire vehicle can have the glazing up or closed. We've got headlamp lenses. I think we've got tail light lenses. Some other clear pieces there. I'm not too sure what all of those are. Okay, interesting. See if we can figure that out when we're looking at the instructions. Great. Okay, what's next? Let's get into the first big bag of plastic. Do I need my little knife here, or will the tape give way? No, we're in without doing any cutting, I think. Or are we? Oh, okay, there's a piece punctured through the plastic there. Right, there we go, that's better. So, inside. Oh, look. So the dashboards, we've got two dashboards. So I think we've got a left-hand drive dash there and a right-hand drive dash there. So you've got an option of left or right-hand drive. How nice is that? You can see a little bit of moulded in detail. Not very much, because I don't imagine there's much on the real 68 Beetle. Never driven one personally, but I imagine they're quite a simple affair inside. Next up on this frame we have the nice looking bonnet there. I think this is the rear seat with parcel shelf, which would be directly in front of the engine, of course, on this car. The two front seats, not too sure which way they go up, I think that's right. Rear engine cover, and that looks like it's a headlining to go inside the top of the body shell. Wow, not often you actually get a separate headlining on a model car kit. That's quite impressive. I'm pleased with that. And next up, you get more interior pieces. Quite a lot to go in the interior in this one. So we've got the interior door and side panels here with moulded in detail for latches and wipers and so on. Nice bit of low relief ribbed detail there. What are these? Are these grab handles? Possibly. Wow, that's really, really good detail. I think this is the Very simple looking steering wheel. Then a very simple gear shifter. I think these might be the seat bases with those frames on. Again, really good detail. Really a cut above what we tend to be used to from a run-of-the-mill model car kit. Again, considering this one cost me £20, about $25. Not too bad. Okay, a little bit of chrome. So those nice Beetle wheels, which I guess you could leave completely chrome. I think they would probably benefit from some painting of the actual rim there to give the impression of a chrome hubcap over a painted rim. But again, it's up to you really. These pieces, perhaps they're for the running boards. They sort of look ribbed like a running board. Not sure. I think that's probably what we have there. Various lighting pieces. I think the VW badge there. It should delight any Beastie Boys fans. Separate windshield wipers, separate mirrors, yes, separate door handles there. Plenty of detail going on. Very nice, very nice. We have some small vinyl tyres. Let's get one out and see what it looks like. What do we have in here? Oh yeah, nice tyre, very nice. Very nice soft rubber material, so they look nice and dull. Very good looking tread pattern there. That's very convincing, I think. Not really seeing any sidewall detail on that side or on that side. Okay, sidewall detail seems to be out of fashion these days. Never mind, pretty good looking tyres. And we then have a couple more frames to go. So in here we have the bumpers by the looks of it. There we are. So they're not on the same chrome tree as everything else. Yeah, there we go. Front and rear bumpers, looking quite nice with those little rivets in where they go onto the brackets on the real car. And okay, I think these are probably the inserts for the rear lamps. Not too sure. Okay, that's looking good. Not too sure about the attachment points on that bumper. I think they're going to be quite visible when it's removed, but I suppose we'll only find that out when we get building, won't we? So the last set of frames is everything else. So deal with this small one first. I really can't identify what that is. Really don't know. Okay. Moving on, we have what appears to be the interior floor pan. It's quite a nice moulding. There's not a lot going on there, but it's quite nicely done. This looks like it is a rear subframe and axle. So that's the rear axle, and I guess sort of engine subframe for the Beetle. Engine bay parts there. Yeah, most of the engine bay stuff is here. That looks like a bulkhead of some sort. Not sure whether that goes in the front or the rear, to be honest with you. Various engine parts. Probably front steering and subframe there. I think that would be, yeah, we've got these sort of like hoses and pumps and things. I reckon that's going to be a pretty detailed engine bay when you get done with it. A set of pedals there. Yeah. All this detail looks really crisply moulded and nicely done, I've got to say. Okay, so we have then this large one-piece base plate, which serves as the underbody, the bottom of the chassis, and obviously everything we've just seen attaches to this, is my assumption. Two major pieces there for the air-cooled flat twin engine. I think it's a flat twin on Beetles, isn't it? Parts of, I don't know, I was going to say parts of the exhaust system, but the Beetle's exhaust is so short it hardly has one, so I don't think that actually is part of the exhaust system. I don't know. I really don't know what some of these parts are. Some inner fenders, inner wings there. Another bulkhead, I think. Wheel backs there. All right, good. So what else we get in the box? We have here, yes, safety advice, the usual Revell safety advice there. Great. And a set of decals, which are essentially a lot of license plates. So we have some modern Euro style ones with Germany there. Not too sure what some of these are. Some of these I think will be older ones. This one, VBM 150G, that looks like a set of British plates from around that era. G might actually be 1968, I can't remember. Some of these I think are Italian, Swiss potentially. Oh, in fact, here's the giveaway. So these are Dutch, Austrian, Italian, Swiss, Swedish perhaps, Belgium, Spanish, that would be Ireland, and that would be Denmark at the bottom there. Okay, great. Set of white walls which can be added to those tyres we saw earlier on if you're a fan of that. Decals for instrument gauges there, again relatively sparse. Not too much in the way of bodywork decals or applications. Something to represent the radio there. And those sort of panels there, I'm not too sure where they would go. Interesting. Okay, then finally let's take a look at the instruction sheet. So, pretty standard book format from Revell of Germany with information about the car and a photograph of the model built up on the front, followed by the usual bump about do's and don'ts and whys and wheres, what the symbols in the instructions mean, paint guide, parts diagram, very useful to have the parts diagram. Often find myself referring to one of those to find a hard to track down part on the frame. And then we're in with assembly, which kicks off with the engine, which looks like it rapidly assembles. In fact, it's the engine bay we're starting off with there. Okay, so yeah, this goes together a bit differently to a lot of cars. The engine bay is a separate piece which fits together with all these components. The main engine, flat twin engine, goes together and attaches to pretty much the underside of that. Okay, interesting. Then we've got this pipework here, presumably part of the exhaust system, but I'm not too sure. Could even be part of the cabin heater, I don't know. But anyway, it all drops into place on the back of the chassis there. We've got the subframe going on underneath that. Front steering pieces, it looks as if you can have posable steering wheels. That goes onto the front of the chassis there. Those inner fenders go on. Bulkhead goes on. Wheels go together and go on. Front seats go together. There are several pieces there, 3 pieces for each seat. Some detail painting guides and stuff for the interior. Also optional left and right hand drive means that you might need to make some additional holes to fit the components on the left or right of the car. And there's a guidance on where to fit those there, depending on which version you're doing. We then have, so the rest of the steering column, that all assembles together with the front seats. That goes in. The rear seat goes in. Side panels go on the interior. You've got detail for seat belts there, it looks like, on the side. And then we have here the left or right hand drive dashboards. Some details to be added there depending on which version you're doing. Again, then the headlining drops in to the body shell. Hood goes on. You've got the various detail pieces there for the mirror, an attachment for the hood. Then those 3 major sub-assemblies go together, and then it's really on to final assembly. Yes, those chrome pieces there look as if they do represent the running boards, okay. And then onto glazing. Glazing all goes in from the outside of the body shell, which is quite unusual. Headlamps go together with those chrome headlamp cans with the clear pieces there. We've got other pieces for the those little grills that Beetles have, the side lights and indicators. Same at the back, so similar deal at the back. I'm not seeing it with those other glass pieces. I wonder if they're lights for a police version, which I know Revell have also done. What else we've got? Then various bits of trim that go on. There's a lot of detail still to go on. Windshield wipers go on. Aerial or antenna goes on, depending whether it's left or right hand drive. You fit it to one side or the other. And then it's a pretty simple decal placement guide. There's not too much to do there. Really just license plates, and then some Volkswagen, just that emblem goes on the back, and that's it. That's all there is to it. I think it looks like a really nicely detailed kit, to be honest. It definitely up along the same rank of the Austin and Morris Mini Cooper that Revell issued as well. Definitely a similar level of detail to that. Also with the left and right hand drive options, making it really nice, very customizable. And as a Beetle, you can do so much with it. other than build it box stock, there are all sorts of ways that you could modify this car. You could make it a sort of a hippie car with flowers and, you know, coloured blankets inside it. You could make it a standard car like this one. You could make it an old relic with a bit of rust coming on it and pieces of trim missing. You could customise it, rat look it, all sorts of things you could do with this kit. I think if you can get this at a reasonable price, like I did, you're really getting quite a bargain. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much for joining me.